Let's knit a hug, a jar hug. Welcome back to another Yarn Inspirations tutorial. I'm your host, Kristen Mangus of GoodKnitKisses. Let's get started. In today's video, you are going to need a number 4 medium weight cotton yarn. We're using Bernat Handicrafter Holidays in color Red Sparkle for contrast A. And we're using color white in contrast B. You'll also need 2 buttons about 1 1/4 inch or 3 centimeters approximately. Let's make a ZigZag Jar Hug by Kristen Mangus. Hey, that's me. We're going to make a jar hug, and you can use any jar for this. I'm just using a standard mason jar, and if you've got a larger one, you're just going to lengthen the project, and so it makes it easier to accommodate your jar. You're going to need your 2 yarns. I'm using Bernat Handicrafter Holidays. It's got a twist of a silver through it, and it's a cotton yarn. I'm using for contrast A, Red Sparkle, and contrast B is white. You're going to need your knitting needles, US size 7 or 4.5 millimeter. You can use, these are just 2 DPNs, double pointed needles, or you can use a straight needle or a circular, whatever you like to do. It's a flat panel back and forth. You'll also need 2 large buttons, and get a tapestry needle that you know can fit in that buttonhole, so be sure and test that out. And we're going to get started. All you need to know is how to knit and knit one below and cast on and cast off. So I will show you how to get this done. Let's begin. Because of the metallic thread in this yarn, I suggest pulling off that wrapper or ball band and working from the outside. So you're just going to pull your yarn from the outside and start that way. That way it doesn't untwist and take that metallic thread out, and you'll have a consistent design. All right, we're ready to begin, and I want to give you a little tip on this yarn. I went ahead and put a little knot in the end here to keep that metallic thread from coming out, and I'm just going to cut this for now, and we can cut this knot out later, and it prevents that fraying if you put it in a bag and it will come loose. So let's just keep that intact for now. Pull out enough length for your long tail cast on, which is about 18 inches. But an extra tip, if you will pull out just an extra 36 inches, you will have enough for sewing on your buttons later, and you won't have to fidget with weaving in extra yarn tails. All right, so I've made my slip knot. Let's make it together. Wrap that around my finger twice, pull the back over the front and the back over the front again. And then I'm going to put my tail part toward me and the ball part towards the back. Put it on my needle. Again, you can use whatever needle you're comfortable with. Grab my yarn and split that there. Pull it back like a slingshot, kind of makes a little bit of a heart. We're going to scoop up from the thumb and go down to the finger, down to the thumb, let it go. Make that cast on row consistent by putting your finger on that stitch, and then that way it doesn't draw up. So we're going to continue casting on 15 stitches. Again, that is scoop up from the thumb, down to the finger, down to the thumb, let it go, and make that consistent and put that finger on that next stitch, and it makes it consistent. You can start with or without a slip knot, whatever you are most comfortable with. So after you've cast on 15 stitches, come back. So pause your video. I'll see you in a moment. Row 1, we're on the wrong side, and we're just going to knit across. So insert your needle into that first stitch here, yarn over, pull through, let the old one drop off, and you've got that new stitch. Just knit across like that, and pause your video and meet me back up when you are ready for row 2. See you soon. You've completed the first row. Turn your work over, and let's mark the right side with a removable stitch marker. Just going to place that in one of my stitches here. And now we want to change colors. Now we will be picking this first color back up, so it's just going to stay right here. I can pull it to the back to make sure that it doesn't get too loose when I begin. And we're going to go into this first stitch and pick up our next color, which is A, or this white color. And I'm going to hold the tail in the back and yarn over with the new one. Pull that through and let the old stitch fall off. Okay, so moving on to the next stitch, this is knit 1 below. You can see the purl stitch from the reverse of the other side. You're going to actually go right underneath where this purl stitch is and go into the stitch below. See that? So you're not going through the leg of the stitch like you normally would. You just go down below that. Make your needle follow it. Now we're going to knit with our white yarn. Drop that stitch off and you have 2 stitches behind that needle, and that is correct. The next stitch is just a knit stitch. So we're going to knit that with the white. And then you continue alternating, knit 1 below, pull that through, and then knit 1. Okay, so repeat that to the end of the row. The last stitch will be a knit 1 stitch. All right, pause your video and I'll see you soon. Okay, so we've got all our new color on here. We've completed this right side row and we're going to turn it over to go onto row 3. Rows 1 and 3 are exactly the same. We're going to knit with the color that we just used. So we're just going to knit across. So whenever you're on the wrong side, know that you're going to knit, except every other time it will be the alternated color. Knit to the end, pause your video. I will meet you back at the end of this row and we will pick up the next color. So we're back on a right side row. It's the 4th row and we are picking up our contrast A, which is the red. So I'm going to insert my needle and I want to pick up the red. If I always pick it up from the same spot, it will twist it up the side very nicely. So I'm going to go and grab it from underneath in the back and knit that first stitch. And just like before, we're going to knit 1 below, but we're just using the other yarn. So we're just going to find that purl stitch from the back side there, go underneath it. So we're knitting 1 below, and you've got the 2 stitches back here and you're done. So you just continue knit 1 across, knit, then below, knit, knit 1 below, and continue across until the end. And then when you return, you will return with the wrong side row, which is knitting, and it sets it back up to continue that stitch pattern. So you're going to continue working this pattern across all 15 stitches until you get to a measured 9-inch length or 23 centimeters. So repeat these 4 rows until your piece measures 9 inches. Pause your video and I will meet you back after you're done. See you soon. All right, so you take your measuring tool and measure it down to here. When it hits 9 inches from here to here, or 23 centimeters, you've got it ready to move on to row 5. Now I'm going to use another video to show you, because it's the same ending as this mug hug or jar hug here, and you are going to be making the bind off to make the buttonhole, just like this, and then the bind off for this buttonhole, and then you will cast on stitches and leave room for some more in the middle, cast on here, and then you bind off completely. So in this next segment of the video, you will see another stitch pattern, but it's the exact same ending. And then I'll show you how to sew on these buttons, and I'm showing white in the video. You can use red or whatever color you like, and they will go on to the end here. I show them at an angle this way, but you can also turn them this way as well. Just be consistent, make sure both buttons are the same way. All right, so watch the rest of that video and I'll show you what this one looks like when we complete it. Have fun. And our next step is to work on row 5, and we're going to hold both of these colors together and we're going to knit 2 stitches. So 1, 2, okay, and then we're going to cast off 4 stitches. Okay, so the way we do that is we're going to cast off by knitting 1 stitch, knitting the next stitch, and then we pass that first stitch that we just did over the second. Okay, make sure to get both of those strands, and that is 1 stitch cast off. So now we need to do that again. We're going to work with the one we've already got going. So we're going to knit the next one, lift that up and over. That is 2. At the next one, that's 3. Okay, 4. That up and over. Okay, so we bound off 4, and then we have 1 stitch here already. So we're just going to knit 2 more. It says knit 3. So I've got 1, 2, and there's actually 3 in between. Okay, so now I want to bind off 4 more. So I'm going to knit this stitch and knit the next stitch and then bind that off. Okay, so what it's doing is it's moving it down as we go. So that's the first stitch bound off, knit the next one, and move that up and over, cast off, bind off, same thing. That's the next one, so that's 2, and then we have 3, okay, and then we have 1 more, that makes 4. And then we have our last stitch. And then that makes 2 here. So we have 2 on the ends and 3 in the middle with 4 stitches bound off. Okay, so you should have 5, 6, 7 stitches left. And we're going to turn it over. And for the 6th row, we're going to knit 2. So these 2 stitches here. 1, 2. Okay, so now we're going to cast on 4 stitches, and I'm just going to do a thumb cast on. So I'm going to take my yarn and move it over here and drop this other needle. I'm going to hold my yarn out like this and twist it and place it on my needle and do it again. So I'm putting my thumb down, twist it, and scoop it up and place it on my needle. So that's 2. Twist it and place it. That's 3. 1 more, twist it and place it. That's 4. So I have 4 stitches now on the needle. I'm going to come over here and we're going to work these next stitches. So we're going to knit 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to cast on 3 more, or 4 more stitches. Okay, drop this other needle and go ahead and do this thumb cast on again, or backwards loop. Just twist it and place it on there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so if I did that too fast, let me do it one more time, real slow. Pull out your yarn, put your thumb down, twist it around, scoop it up with your needle, and then let it go. You're going to pull it and make that stitch go there. So we just take our yarn, hold it out, flip it around our thumb, and scoop it up. So we want to make sure and have 4. So I've got 3 and 4. All right, now I want to get back to this needle over here and knit these last 2 stitches. 1, 2. Okay, so now we turn it over, and what we've just created are the holes for our buttons. Okay, so this next row is just the cast off edge. We're going to knit the first 2 stitches just as we did on that last time, and we're going to be working the cast off on all the stitches. So lift your loop back, up and over, and go to the next one, and this will be the last time we're casting off the complete row. Pause your video and meet me back up when you get to the end, and I'll see you soon. Okay, we're on our last stitch. I'm going to go right in, work that stitch, lift it up and over just as we did on all the others, and we're going to pull out a little length here. Go ahead and cut that off. Okay, and so now you've got a tail that needs to be woven in on this side, and this area here is your buttonholes. And so let's go on to the other side here, and of course you can take out this safety pin here, or this stitch holder that you've got, a stitch marker, and you don't need that anymore. And you'll weave in this tail as well with your wide-eye tapestry needle. And then this long tail, if you kept a nice long tail, otherwise you'll need another one. But you will want to weave in either any short tails and then put on your buttons. So go ahead and weave in those other tails, pause your video, and we'll meet back up to sew on your buttons. See you soon. Now that I have all my tails woven in, I'm ready to put on the finishing detail, which is my buttons. Now, in order to know where to put the buttons, you will need to go ahead and get your jar out and place it around and fit it around the opening to where the opening of the buttons lays on top of the edge here. So this is the cast on edge, and we want to see exactly where that falls. So when I put my buttonholes over it, they fall about right here. Now I can use my finger and kind of note where that is, and then take a stitch marker and just pin it. So I'm just going to put a little stitch marker in right about where that stitch is, and then I can let that go. And I have this one over here. I can mark that as well, and then I can let it go. So now I know where the buttons need to fit. See that? And I'm just going to use my my extra yarn that I had here, and I'm going to get it right up to where that stitch marker is, and then that way I can start sewing in from that direction. So I'm just going to work my needle in underneath these stitches here and just get right up in there. Okay, and now that I know where that is, I'm going to take my stitch marker off and put my button on. Okay, so I'm going to make my buttons at a 45-degree angle here. I think it has a little bit more interest to it, and then I'll use this first hole for where it starts being stitched in. So it's centered right up where it needs to be. Pull that on through, and then now I can go straight down and pick a stitch here and go across, and then we're going to go up again through that stitch and down again, and then I'm going to go to one side. It's a free hole that hasn't been used yet, and we're going to go across, and then we've just crisscrossed our button. We'll do it one more time. And down again. Okay, and if you have room, you can go one more time. And lock that into place. And then now that I'm on the back side here, I can go ahead and make sure that's nice and secure. Go through one of these stitches here. I'm going to leave a loop at the end and then go through that, making a nice little knot here. Okay. And then now I want to go all the way over to this side, so I can just go back through some of these stitches here to let my yarn travel. I'm just picking areas with like yarn on it. Go ahead and get yours all the way over to that other side. Pause your video if you need to, and meet me back up when you get over here, just like we did before. See you soon. Okay, so I'm back. Go up and under this last one. Okay, so this is where I want to put my next button. Same thing, I'm going to lay it just down as I did the last one. And just repeat. Go down and up again. And just repeat it how you did it. If you crisscrossed it each and every time, that's okay too. Whatever works for you. I would just make them look the same on both. If you have a different way of sewing on a button, be my guest. This is just how I'm doing it. Just make sure it's nice and secure, so if you do wash your mug hug, or the person does, that it's not going to come out. Okay, so sew my buttons on. Just going to go through the back here and pull that loop Go back through the loop. Make sure and give it a good tug. Make a knot. I'm going to do it one more time, just for good measure. Make another loop. Oops, drop my yarn. Here we go. Go through that last one. Pull it through, and then you can go ahead and weave in your tail just a little bit. Go through a few of these stitches up here. And then you can actually go through and hide where you clip it on the back side here, underneath the button. And there you have it. And then you're just going to button that onto your jar or your mug. So cute. Whether you make this jar hug for cocoa or candy, it's sure to be a hit this gift-giving season. On behalf of Yarnspirations and GoodKnit Kisses, I'm your pattern designer, Kristen, wishing you happy knitting and happy holidays. Bye-bye.